Good?
Sounds good.
Blog
Okay.
Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Carrington, and you are listening to Call Talk for Wednesday, October 13th, 2010. Our topic today is on outbound calling for both dedicated outbound centers and for centers who have only partial outbound call volume. If you're listening live, we invite you to be a part of the show, and please ask questions. You can either do that by emailing us at calltalk@benchmarkportal.com or chat with us on calltalk.tv. You can also use your phone to call us and ask a question, and that phone number is right here, 347-857-3117. But make sure to press the number 1 on your phone to let me know if you have a question. But if you don't want to ask a question, feel free just to listen in. Everyone who asks a question today, either email or phone on the show, will receive a free copy of Bruce's book, Benchmarking at its Best, and one person will be chosen at random to win an in-depth reality benchmarking report valued at $1,500. I want to remind everyone that all of our shows are logged and available to listen to at calltalk.tv any time of the day for your convenience. And now I'd like to introduce the host of Call Talk, Bruce Belfiore.
Thanks very much, Brian, and welcome back to Call Talk, everyone. Today's topic is outbound calling, and to discuss this, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Alex Demczak, a lifelong resident of Pittsburgh, and Alex, right, licking your wounds after the Steelers lost to the Ravens. We won't rub that one in too much. Alex has been with such notable companies as Mellon Bank, where he managed system, telecom, and recovery functions. He also had a quarterly column in Call Center Magazine and has been a committee member of the Avaya PBS user group for 18 years now. Alex has been the general manager of Mug Enterprise since 2005 and has spoken around the world on various call center topics, as well as authoring 2 books, including a joint effort with Dr. Jon Anton entitled Optimizing Outbound Calling, the royalties for which are fully funding his retirement. Well, welcome to the show, Alex. How you doing?
Thanks, Bruce. Great to be here.
Great. Okay. Well, listen, why don't we get right into it? And, we want to make all of our listeners realize that you have some golden words for them, whether they are a dedicated outbound center or, as is the case with most of our listeners, centers that have some blend of outbound with their inbound calls. Are there any general comments that you'd like to start with?
Well, yeah, even on that fact, I don't see too much of a distinction anymore between in- and outbound or blended call centers, because the bottom line is making the connection to the customer, making that contact. That's what's critically important, and that's where we're all trying to get to.
Right. And are you seeing any things with regard to the economic downturn that's having an impact in general on our industry?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question, because we certainly are. What's occurring out there right now in collections, of course, the need to ramp up, make more calls. In addition, though, inbound centers are also receiving more calls. And with every consumer report story, mortgage foreclosure story, we're actually seeing those ebbs and tides where volumes pick up right after those newscasts, because everyone takes the part of the victim and wants to make sure they're not the victim. And those calls still have to be managed on the inbound side. Collection agencies have more volume than ever, but the problem they're facing today is they need to make not only more phone calls to cover that new volume, but what they're seeing is their revenues aren't going up because of high unemployment and the ability to pay.
Okay. Yeah, no, obviously big factors for a lot of people. Well, if we have people on the phone right now who have mainly inbound calls for the population, they have mainly inbound calls, they have outbound, they're sort of not sure about how to manage that part of their business. They're more comfortable, we find in many cases, with the inbound calls. Do you have any words of wisdom for them? And I have a little story that I'll tell after we hear from you.
Well, Yeah, I mean, really, an outbound call is an inbound call in reverse. Generally speaking, inbound calls can be a lot more difficult because you really don't know, or the agent doesn't know, I should say, necessarily what that next call is going to be about. Outbound calling campaigns tend to be targeted, and the agent's well aware of the point they're going to try to get across, whether it's collections, activation, utilization, sales, whatever the case may be. They know what the call is going to be about, so they're better prepared for it.
Right. Okay. That's a great point, that actually you can control it better. And so what would you say on scripting with regard to the outbound call? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, scripting is, in a lot of ways, it can be like handing someone a gun. You're either going to hunt dinner or you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah, and I think we've all had calls, be it inbound or outbound, where we know for a fact scripting is being utilized and not utilized well. For scripting to be successful, it should be more of a guide, and I think that that's where some of the problem comes in, where agents are trying to read it word for word, search for the response, and rather than just using it as a guide, letting them put it in their own words. Now, certainly that's got to be supervised and monitored, and hopefully, they have the quality of people that can do this. But that's the only way it's going to be really successful, is the agent put it in their own natural terms.
Exactly. Sort of internalize what the message is and then put it in their own words, and then just maybe at that point use the script as a mental checklist to make sure that they've covered all the points in their own words.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like if you go back 15, 20 years ago when the Dale Carnegie sales courses were running rampant, you knew a Dale Carnegie graduate because the conversation always started out, if there was a way, that's what they taught. And so you knew the person was just doing canned speech. And, personalization. Right. Yeah, personalization is what really closes the deal, regardless of whether you're selling or collecting.
Well, I think that's a good point, and maybe for the outbound component of anybody's call center, it's both having the scripted message internalized so it doesn't sound scripted, but also having enough, empathy, if that's the word, for whoever else is on the phone, that they're picking up signals from that person and making sure that the things that they say are going to be relevant to that person, and they're ready to change tack if, in fact, they're going down the wrong road.
Well, exactly, and you get into what can scripting be utilized for. Yes, you can actually make an agent be robotic and speak word for word, or you can use it as a tool to help that agent find answers, solutions, products, or overcome objections, which is the way I view scripting should be used. Otherwise, connect the dialer to an IVR and just do text-to-speech, and that'll give you the same robotic response.
No, that's a good point. Well, one of the things, too, on the outbound side that I've seen is for centers that are primarily inbound and then they do some outbound, sometimes it messes up their metrics, and we have to do some adjusting for that. And it's not just for us, for purposes of the assessments we do and for those who are going for certification. It's also in terms of their sense of managerial control over what the situation is, because there's do they put their people in aux time to do outbound calls? Do they have a outbound call component that they can push to do it in? There's one center that I was in not that long ago where the agent, it was primarily an inbound sales center. When the agent had to make an outbound call to return a call to somebody, they had to call workforce management. And workforce management demanded that they indicate how much time they needed for their call. And they didn't really know how much time it would take, of course. So they'd indicate a certain time, and that would take them out of their inbound statistics for that period of time, but it's very inefficient. And so they were unhappy with it because it could be denied very, very easily, and in fact frequently was. They were not able to follow up quickly on sales that they could have closed, so that wasn't good for the center. And also they oftentimes found themselves, with a minute or two left in what they had told workforce management, so they just kind of relaxed instead of putting themselves back into inbound. And so anyway, we talked to them and to the workforce management, and they changed it so that the agent themselves, him or herself, was able to put themselves into outbound mode when they wanted to. And unless there was a lot of inbound calls, and in that case, workforce management could override them and insist that they do it. But it was for good reason. It wasn't just because they had to do it every time. Have you seen situations similar to that?
Well, yeah, I really have, and this is really impacting outbound, inbound, and blended centers as well. What we've found is most call center management and certainly upper management live and die by averages. When it comes to reporting, whether it's talk time, aux time, whatever the case may be, and unfortunately, what ends up happening, a lot of this information tends to be erroneous because when it comes to talk time, they're unable to break out what is inbound versus outbound versus even preview dialing, all these sorts of things. And then you add in other caveats like, new trainees where you have, abnormally long talk and wrap-up times, this sort of thing. So generally what we recommend doing is if the system isn't capable of determining those differences, build out the system, build out the agent logins so that they can at least be tracked based on the type of campaign you're running. So, for example, if I'm an inbound agent, I have an inbound login. If I'm going to do outbound duty, I have an outbound login. And if I'm a trainee, I have a trainee login that I keep for 90 days, and then I go into the regular pool. At that point, you're able to track all these various facets of the call center experience separately so that they actually do make some sense.
Right. No, I think that's important. And actually, at the end of the day, too, we want to have all those things properly done and documented so that we can have good metrics, so that we can track ourselves, see how we're doing. And this is probably a good point to note that we have launched 2 new ongoing surveys, one for outbound and one for collections functions. And they'll take their proud place next to our inbound customer service surveys that people are already very used to, the reality check and the in-depth reality check inbound surveys. And they have, these others have survey questions that are particular to the outbound and the collections industries. And Alex worked very closely with us on it. In fact, Alex, can I call you the midwife of these surveys? Or maybe I should call you the biological father.
As long as they don't have to take any DNA test, that's fine.
Okay. Oh, okay. Been there and done that already, huh, Alex?
Well, yeah. You never know. Anyway, no, it took about as long, 9 months, I think, this last go-round.
It did, but the babies are beautiful, aren't they?
They really are, and I think what's really exciting to me is this has been tried. Not this particular facet. I would say that getting statistics, especially in the outbound arena, has been tried for years. I can recall in the late 80s, early 90s, companies were coming out with this, and every time someone would come out with a study, it would be shot down because it wasn't product specific. And so this is really exciting.
Yeah. Okay, well, great. We hope that people will participate, and, we ask anybody who's on the line to look them up and to take them. Keep in mind that you need to have segregated data for those operations to make the survey work. Or else, if, in fact, it's one of your colleagues who's responsible for outbound and or the collections sector, let them have the benefit of these surveys. Let them know about it and do that. Another nice thing about these is that the surveys will be complimentary. And so basically no charge for at least the next 6 months while we fill the database. So we're really encouraging everybody to participate, and starting actually with the Avaya group that we talked to, what was it, about 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, in Las Vegas, so the price is great.
Yeah, the price is just right. Okay, great.
Even most collection call centers could afford that.
That's right. And the nice thing about collections is whatever they bring in goes straight to the bottom line, and also goes against what they have to reserve for bad debt. So it's certainly, if I were a collections manager or an outbound manager, I would want to see how my metrics looked compared to my competitive peers. So we have high hopes for these two surveys. Let me just remind everybody who's listening to please call in or else email in your questions so that we can answer them, and happy to do that. Let's see, Brian, do we have a question that you could ask?
Yeah, this one came in from Matt, and the question is, what's the next big thing in call center technology?
The next big thing in call center technology.
Big question.
Yeah, it is. And I think probably, inbound, that piece, the blended center, has really come together and is probably going to be reaching its zenith. There's still more work to be done, but it's getting there. The next big thing is probably going to be more of the virtual agent. Now, that's not anything really new. There's been blast messaging, but I'm talking more along the lines of the intelligent messaging, where the dialer, the predictive dialer, not only contacts the customer but qualifies the lead, gives pertinent information about their account, and then presses on. So I would look for that to be the next big thing coming out, and then I would look for the FCC to follow closely behind it to regulate it.
Uh-huh.
They have a bad habit of doing with any good thing.
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
We love them.
Yeah. Actually, we're finding a lot of interest in virtual call centers in general, and in at-home agents in particular. And one of the things that our earlier research had found is that those people who are good at sales, outbound, collections, et cetera, have a limited overlap with people who are good inbound agents. And so, in fact, when you get a good person like that, and let's say the spouse moves somewhere and they have to move too, you hate to lose them. And now you don't have to. If they like you, you like them, and you have the technical capability to have the technology pushed out to them, it can go with them wherever they go. And in fact, there's a number of centers that are building up considerable cadres of people who can be virtual agents. Are you seeing that as well?
Oh yeah, definitely more so. Because if you look at the cost of postage and doing hard mailing, snail mail, it's very expensive compared to getting that message out virtually. Whether it's banking and you're want to do sales on auto loans, or you're in leasing and trying to offer incentives in that regard. The medical industry is a real large up-and-coming group for not only satisfaction surveys, but also for solicitations, be it medical supplies, prescriptions, this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Another thing, too, is on the training side. As you were talking, I was thinking about this, that oftentimes, training is one of the biggest bang for the buck things that you can improve on in your center, whether it's inbound or outbound. And what's your advice to managers who are either dedicated outbound or have blended in terms of the kinds of training that should go into the outbound component of what they do?
Well, in that regard, certainly, I think what's important is role playing, and I can't stress that enough. And I'm not talking about the typical every call's a win. I mean, it should be real world with real life examples. Most supervisors, managers do monitoring now, so it shouldn't be too difficult to come up with those topics. One of the things, though, I see, unfortunately, is the dependency on agents themselves to train other agents. Now, that's side-by-side training is good as a supplement, but unfortunately, you get what I like to refer to as floor lore also thrown in. So, new agents can also pick up some bad habits if we're not careful.
Okay. Speaking about bad habits, just a question that sometimes I ask people: what's the worst outbound call center you've seen, and why?
The worst, yeah. When I was doing a study a while back for incentive programs, because that's one thing that's always interested me is how to motivate people. I actually was in a center that had constructed this booth, vision an old-style phone booth out of 2x4s, some chicken wire, and some plexiglass. Mm-hmm. They had a box fan under this thing, and the agent that had the highest number of promises per month would get in this booth. They had all these folded up bits of paper with increments of like 50 cents, $1, maybe up to $20, and they would turn on this fan, and with his peers standing around, and it was up to that agent to grab as many of those pieces of papers in 30 seconds or whatever the case may be, and that was his bonus for the month.
Which country was this in? Hello? Hello?
Did we lose Alex?
I think we might have. We might have lost Alex. Okay, we'll wait and see if he comes back in. But that was quite a story there. Yeah, I can imagine that probably was something that management found hilarious to watch every month, but could have been a bit demeaning for people in the booth. So they might not have liked it a whole lot. Okay, well, while we're waiting for him to come back in, are there any other questions that you have, Brian, that perhaps I could start answering?
Yeah, we did have one. This came in from Loretta, and before we go there, I do want to remind everyone and thank people for listening. I've got some people that have called in from Southwest Idaho. I've got northeastern Idaho or Ohio, California. Also, some listeners just logging in a little while ago from Florida. And so if you're listening, that's great, and feel free to do that. If you would like to ask either Alex or Bruce a question, you're welcome to do that as well, and just hit 1. And it looks like there's a potential for one here in a moment. But first, real quick then, this is a question from Loretta. What is the most common problem you see in call centers and have some portion of that have some portion of outbound calls? I think, Alex, do we have you back?
Yes. Thanks to the miracles of the Internet, I am back.
Great. Did you hear that question then?
Yeah, I did. And just to finish up, I don't know where I got dropped off before. The agents absolutely despised it. They were told to be professional, but yet they were put into this unprofessional stance. So I would say get your agents involved in your incentive programs or bonus programs if you can. Get feedback, and you're going to find out it's going to work out much better for you.
No, that's a great concept for anybody in terms of getting agent feedback, in terms of the incentives, and you find out what it is that they want. Do they want time off? Do they want money? Do they want and whatever it is, then find the proper way within your organization to give it to them. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
And that's going to cut down on the turnover. Brian, I'm sorry. The question we had again?
Sure. This was from Loretta, and she asked, "What is the most common problem you see in call centers that have some portion of outbound calls?"
Okay. That's a good question, especially for a follow-up to what we were just talking about. Right now, everyone is reacting to the economic downturn, and they have been for about a year. And so what they're doing is boosting productivity any way they can. And unfortunately, they're forgetting the other Q. There's two Qs to the sides of a call center, quality and quantity. Mm-hmm. I try to put quality ahead of quantity. Unfortunately, the opposite is occurring right now, where we see a lot of call centers in, out, blended, all pushing for quantity, trying to get the numbers, but unfortunately that quality aspect is suffering for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually one of the things I might mention with regard to our new surveys for the collections and for outbound is that we will be, just as we have the balanced scorecard for inbound customer service, which has the quality and the quantity, in this case we've actually got three measures. It's three-dimensional this time, and we've got those measures that have to do with the amount of activity that your center is putting out as an outbound center. The second is the results that you're getting, and the third is the quality aspect of it. So we've taken the thing and we sort of diced it even one further time, and I think that people who take this are going to find it very, very interesting. So, okay,
and it's really worthwhile. I mean, sometimes it pays, especially in today's environment, to dedicate the time to really reevaluate and, if necessary, reinvent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Brian, do we have some more? Okay, we may have lost Brian there.
No, I'm here. Hey,
okay.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
I was just screening a phone call that we got in. If I'm catching it a good time, I can't hear at the same time. So if this is a good time, I'd like to bring her in.
Okay. Great.
Okay, so here in just a second, this is, let's see if I did it right, no, mute. This is a caller, Maria from Blue Cross Blue Shield from Florida, and let's see if I can do it right. She had a question for you. For some reason, I'm not getting it on air. I'm hitting it on. Maria, can you hear us? Nope, it's not working. Let me, why don't you guys chat? I'll go back and bring the question back to you guys.
Yes,
okay.
We'd like to. I'd like to hear from, because it's one of the things that I'm seeing is obviously the medical field in general, as it relates to call centers, is the modern age version, I guess, of the credit card growth of the 70s and 80s. There are a lot of medical call centers out there right now, and they have their own special sets of problems, certainly, with in this country you have the HIPAA regulations, of course, so just like you have utilities have their own specific needs and regulations, the medical field very heavily regulated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I've seen the same thing, Alex, and the fact is that where you had some of these centers that were basically inbound only a few years ago, now with what's going on in the medical insurance area, they're getting much more into inbound sales, much more into outbound, and just in general developing themselves in very exciting ways in terms of their sophistication and their ability to service clients and to get new clients in a 360-degree way. So we're seeing that in all kinds of industries. So I think that whereas outbound seemed to be dying with the no-call list, now with responding to inbound calls that are in turn stimulated by print advertising and also TV advertising, et cetera, there's actually a lot of exciting things going on. Let's just check in with Brian one more time, see if he's able to get Maria on.
Okay. All right, Maria, can you hear us?
I can.
Perfect. All right, everyone, this is Maria from Blue Cross Blue Shield, Florida. Thanks for joining us, Maria. And what's your question?
Okay, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to know if you have some thoughts or considerations when creating a compensation plan for outbound agents. And just to clarify, this is a two-tiered process. Our outbound agents are responsible for initiating leads for our licensed agents. So we make the call, and then if the lead is good, we transfer the call over to the licensed agent. I just wanted to know if you had some experience with a compensation plan or an incentive plan for those outbound agents.
Okay, let me have Alex answer that, but it's clear to you what she's talking about, right, Alex, that they have unlicensed people who are doing the first level, and then once they've qualified the lead, they pass it over to a licensed agent who is able to actually conclude the deal.
You know, it's interesting because this method of operation is actually becoming more and more commonplace, especially over the past really 5 years. It's really taken a foothold, and it works really, really well because it allows you to bring people in as, we'll say, the operator, and they do the qualifying. It's a lower skill set, but they do the qualifying, and then when they do get that proper lead, turn it over to the agent. So, yeah, we refer to it as operator-agent capability. So one of the things that, you know, we've seen, though, over the years where mistakes are made on outbound incentive programs, either in cases like this or even in single agent mode, is incenting only the individual and not also utilizing group goals. If you don't incent both, you have a bunch of individuals out there not operating as a team. So in your case, for example, if you have operators and their goal is to pass leads back as quickly as possible, I'm assuming they're on a predictive dialer of some sort?
Not yet, but we will
Not
be.
yet? Okay, but they will be. That's when it's going to be even more important because dialers like consistency. They like consistency in the talk time, consistency in the update time. And in order to get them consistent, they have to control their own conversation. So, you know, when you're doing a group, an individual goal, let's say the individual talk time, the goal is to be at 2 minutes on average. They're all going to strive for that, to be as an individual. If they get it as a group, a 2-minute average as a group and not just an individual, that could also be an additional payout. So there's incentive for the individual, but there's also incentive for the entire group to hit. Do you follow me with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And it would be the same for your agents as well. And again, it's not just the, like we were talking about earlier, the quantity, it's also the quality of measures. If on the operator side you have someone that's doing, 25 connects per hour, that's a great outbound connect rate. That's good productivity. But if they're only getting 4 leads compared to maybe someone that's doing 18 connects per hour but getting 8 leads, obviously the productivity of that person from a production standpoint is lower, but the quality is there. And the end game is you're getting more customers over to those agents.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very good. What do you think about that, Maria? Do those thoughts fit in with what you were thinking, or is there anything that sounds good or odd?
I think it definitely fits into what we were thinking. I know that when the rubber meets the road, it's all about the quality lead. We want to make sure that, we're able to either upsell or bring that person on as a new customer for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Do you have any thoughts or can you share any regulations regarding predictive dialing?
Yes. Really the thing today is outbound abandonment, and that's where you're really over-dialing. It used to be only thought of as sweatshops that would, just dial so aggressively that they would put people on hold once they did get a connect, and you'd have to wait there for an agent to see who was calling you. So you have to be very cautious. States like California are very, very strict when it comes to outbound abandonment rates. Also, what makes it even more difficult anymore is the regulations regarding the use of dialers. you have federal regulations and you have state regulations, but within those you even have multiple bodies. So, for example, the state of Pennsylvania that I'm very familiar with allows you to call between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. The Fed says you can call between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Well, which one do you follow? And that's always a trick question, and the call center manager says, well, I'd follow the Fed because they're bigger. Well, it's not the case. You have to follow the more restrictive of the two in order to be in compliance. Now, Pennsylvania, and as well as other states, also has yet another governing body, the Public Utilities Commission, or the Utilities Commission or Commonwealth of various states. They take it a step further and say, well, not only can you not call between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., but you also, if someone does get put in an outbound wait queue, you have to tell them who you are, where you're calling from, and provide a phone number where they can call you back. So it's important, whatever dialer platform you decide to go with, that you're comfortable with them understanding the laws and regulations to guide you into proper operation of the system, because you're going to have your own worries like HIPAA regulations and everything else that we talked about that's common in the medical arena.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time.
Okay. No, that's a
great
question.
If we had more time, I had this rash I was going to talk to you about.
I don't think you want to talk to me.
Oh, well, I love Blue Cross and Blue Shield. You always take care of me.
Well, great. We're happy to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. No, that's a great question. We really enjoyed that interaction. And I think one other thing that I would add is that with regard to the incentive plan is to remember your supervisors and to make sure that whatever you do can redound to their benefit and make them the very best coaches, mentors, cheerleaders, but in the right way for the agent so that they're as successful as possible.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Great. Okay, let's see. We're really running over here, but it's a great show. Is there one more question that you wanted to ask, or should we close it up here, Brian?
I've got one more if you guys have the time.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Okay, this comes in from Dave from calltalk.tv on the chat there. Dave says, my call center is a blended call center, and our workforce management software does not accommodate for your outbound volume. What is the best way to account for that time?
All too common a problem. Yeah. No, that isn't that a sort of a one-off? You have to look at the individual situation, don't you, Alex?
Yeah, you really do. Because again, without knowing, the full background, I mean, this could be something that's as easily answered as, giving the agent again an outbound login ID so those that information can be tracked separately, or is there something within their phone system that can be done?
Right. Well,
but the problem is, or I guess the solution is to dig deeper. The unfortunate thing I think we see in the industry today is not all companies that sell hardware, especially and software, are really being challenged by call center management to deliver on what the needs are. It's almost like we're backing into the technology instead of the technology backing into us.
Right. Okay. On that one, Dave, if you'd like to get in touch with us, maybe we can help you out on a one-to-one basis. So, well, listen, it's been a great show. Alex, thank you very much for being part of this. And over to Brian.
Yeah, I want to thank Alex. It was great, and appreciate all the insight that you brought to the show. And do want to apologize. I see a couple people raising their hand right now wanting to ask questions on the phone line. Please come back and join us again in our next shows. We'd be happy to get you on there, but we just have run out of time. So I am working on getting the winner for our show today, and want to remind everyone to join us October 27th. Our next Call Talk is titled Disaster Planning in an Age of Extreme Weather, Epidemic Disease, and Cyber Terrorism. Quite a topic that'll be. So
it's perfect for Halloween.
Right, good timing there. If we used your question today, please email us at calltalk@benchmarkportal.com so we can send you Bruce's book, Benchmarking at its Best, and make sure we get that email so we can take care of you. Don't forget to sign up for a free reality check, Benchmark Report, to see how your call center compares to others in the industry. And our in-depth reality check, Benchmark Report, takes a much deeper dive into call center metrics and is free today for our winner that was on the show. Dave, you are the winner, so make sure you email us so I can set you up with that free report. I'm Brian Carrington, wishing you all a very, very wonderful day.